So, life transformation, leading from inside, mastering the inner game of success. We have with us Mr. Santosh Babu, founder and managing director, ODA Consultancy and life coach. He is the author of India's first book on coaching. Santosh Babu works with organizations and leaders to shift limiting beliefs and bring about lasting positive changes. Now, this is something you've got to see. Ladies and gentlemen, please get your hands together for Mr. Santosh Babu.
Good afternoon. I have no presentation, and I'm sure that you guys have been watching and hearing for a long time. So this session, possibly, you're going to talk much than me. So quick introduction, I run a company called OD Alternatives, which is Organization Development Alternatives. And we actually use social network analysis to find change agents inside an organization, to just actually figure out who are the real movers and shakers other than really looking at the hierarchy and the designation. But what we mostly do is we do leadership development and one-to-one coaching for around 100 organizations in the past. And interestingly, I have no background to do what I do. I was a primary school teacher for 5 years in Bhutan. And then I left that. Then I actually got interested in animals, and I became a dog trainer and trained dogs and worked with animals for the next 5 years. And in '94, left that and decided to train the corporate guys. So that's been, never went to a business school, though I teach now at the Duke University and ISB. So I think the progression was good. And the question is whether you want to hear about what I learned by working with the kids, or working with the dogs, or working with the leaders. The choice is yours. Kids? All right. So the biggest thing that I learned from kids is kids can teach you three things. One, how to get what they want at any means. You know, if you ever have small kids, I saw one today in the flight who just decided to create havoc to that 200 people. So kids can just really, if they want to go for something, they know how to go for it. The second one, how to be happy without any reason. Most of us decide that I will be happy when I have that, I'll be happy when I get my next promotion, I'll be happy when I finish this. And kids could just teach us that happiness is an inner state, that I can be happy. And the third one is that how to be busy without doing anything. I sometimes call up my daughter. She said, you know what, I'm busy now. Can you call me later? So I think kids can really teach. And what the problem is, as we move on, we started accumulating more and more stuff inside us. So let me do a quick warming up. This is after lunch and after seeing a lot of presentations. And I'm going to give you a basic, simple story. And I really like to test how intelligent are the people who are there in the room. So accordingly, I can just change my presentation. So this is to just get a feel of you guys. So this is about a lady who went to buy a pen from a small shop. And the pen cost 12 rupees. Very simple. I think this group is good. I have to be good with Ed. So I'm making it even simpler for you. The shopkeeper was selling the pen at cost price. So you don't have to calculate profitability, which is cost price. And the lady liked the pen, and the pen cost 12 rupees, and she didn't have the change, so she gave him 20 rupee. And it was morning, this guy didn't have the change, so he just walked outside to the pan shop, the cigarette shop, and got change for 20 rupees, came back, and what's the amount that he's going to give to the lady back? 8, and the pen, right? So a lady took the pen and 8 rupees, she went back. After lunch, the panwala came back running with that 20 rupee note, and he said, you know what? In the morning, you gave me this 20 rupee note, and I gave you change, but this is a fake note. And he looked at it, and it was fake, and he admitted it. I said, I'm really sorry. So he took the fake note from him and gave him an original other 20 rupee note. So story is over. You have to tell me in the overall transaction who lost money and how much. Shopkeeper lost 20. 28? 32? Yeah, I hear 20, I hear 28, I hear 32. 40? 12? 40? Any other number? This is a big challenge every CEO face, to align people on a number. Now we have multiple numbers in the room. So how many of you are 40? Show the hands. How many of you are 32? All right. How many of you are 28? Nobody? I heard 28 somewhere. Yeah. How many of you are 20? Okay. How many of you have shown the hand till now? That's a large group. That's the challenge. So I always learned in life something. We always think that, man, if I show my hand, if I shout a word, I'm not sure what it is. So half the population usually will not be there. This is what the engagement scores in organizations say. So you will always have some people really engaged, some not. But what's the right answer? It's such a simple question. 12. Oh, I didn't. How many of you are 12? 12. Very good. I usually get more 40. So that talks about the intelligence of this group. I think, how many of you are 40 again? I mean, still less. That's a big challenge. I have to actually tweak my presentation now. 40? Okay, there are more people coming at 40. Usually, when I have time, I allow people to talk about their arguments and discuss and trying to get into an alignment. We don't have time, so I'm going to tell you the answer and talk about how this happened. What could be the right answer? Any guess? 32? 32 is a very, very, very good number. So 20. All right. Somebody said 20 from the very beginning from here. Yeah, the problem with this spotlight is I can't see you guys. Yeah. I'm not doing a presentation. Is there a way you can put on a light on the audience? If there is, that's easier. You said 20 at the very beginning. Why 20? 34. 24, yes. 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 $40. He lost the pen also. So he says it's 12. Yes. Yeah. 20 is, he's already said. 24, yes. He gave the pen 12 rupees. 20 rupees. 32. Minus 8 is 24. Very good. He lost 20. 40. Okay. Give me a 40 reason, because 40 is a very good number. Great chance to win. Uh-huh. Yes. So altogether it's 40. Let me tell you the right answer so that you don't. The right answer is 20. Very good, guys. Whoever said 20. The right answer is 20. And to get it easily, you may have to look at the problem from a different perspective. Let me ask you a different question. In the overall transaction, who gained money? Who gained money? Lady, how much? 12 rupee pen? 8. So if the gain is 20, the loss will be? That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, in the overall transaction, what is the problem? Fake note. If that note was not fake, everything is fine. So everything is fine. So there is a problem. There is a 20 rupee fake note. And if it was not fake, everything will be fine. So 20 is the right answer. Calculate, it'll take some time. I did this with the senior vice president of a bank last time as a part of a leadership training. In the evening, we were having a drink, and one guy said, I still believe it is 32. So, so you know why banks are really having problems. So what it says that any problem, the way you first perceive a problem, the way you perceive it, your brain quickly create a strategy. After that, it is difficult for you to leave that strategy. But all the time, your brain is working to prove that strategy. Instead of just leave that, get out and look at things from a different perspective. So this is just for the brain cells to get an activate into that. I sometimes write in Economic Times largely around dogs and leadership. And before we get into the whole element of the inner game, I really wanted to talk about one article that I wrote. Because some of my participants know that I train dogs, I work with the dogs. There was a telecom company, senior guy once, he called me after a workshop. You know, typically when your participants call you after a workshop, you think that, oh my God, these guys have really liked it, so they might want me to do another one. But this guy said to Santosh, I really want a favor from you. I said, go ahead. He said, I want some tips on training my dog. I said, okay, what is the problem? He said, I have this cute 6-month-old Labrador. He's extremely handsome, really playful, healthy, fantastic. But the only problem is, he is not ferocious. So can you train him and make him more ferocious? So how many of you know a Labrador, what a Labrador is? Show the hand, so I know that. So Labrador is this black or a yellow dog that you see usually in front of in the hotels, police stations, in the airports, which is used as a sniffer dog. And Labrador is the most loving breed. And if you have kids and if you really have no issues of people walking in your room, and even if a thief enters at night, if you have a Labrador at home, he will be a very, very happy dog because he has somebody to play with. So that's the Labrador. Now, going back to this gentleman, he said, can you really train my Labrador to be more ferocious? I thought for a while. Then I said, you know, this is a classical case of wrong hiring. Now, you hired a wrong guy, and you're trying to fix him with your competency framework and say that you have to change, you have to change. That doesn't happen. Hopefully no HR guys in this forum, right? So fundamentally, a Labrador as a basic, he's loving, he's playful, he's connecting, he wants people, he needs friends, he needs company. And if you try to change him externally, and try to make him ferocious, he's not going to be a happy Labrador. And if he gets ferocious, you can, and who is the first guy he's going to bite? Because who is there in the vicinity most of the time. But what happens, we try to do that with ourselves and the people around us. We talk about, these are the 5 behaviors you need to develop, these are the 5 traits that you need to develop, and a lot of time, development per se for us going up, we think it's about doing something. So I want to introduce a distinction. To me, leadership is about the being skills than doing skills. But most of, if you really look at the history, the training and the interventions that we do is about the doing part of leadership. What are the 5 things that you need to do to be an effective leader? What are the 7 things that if you do, you will succeed in life? Without realizing what is the core inside. What's your being and how can you expand? And which is an appreciative way of knowing really your inborn, natural, strong abilities which you might have been touched till now. But I'm a strong believer, you only need what is already there inside you. And if you expand that, you can reach your life purpose with that. And this is an appreciative. So I have a daughter who is 11-year-old. So she's extremely creative. She writes poems, she paints. She's good at studies. One of her problems is she doesn't stand up and talk in front of a group, something that I do every day to get paid. So most of the days when we go to the parents-teachers thing, the teacher will say that she's extremely good, she's fantastic, but only problem is that she's very shy, she doesn't stand up and talk, she's not assertive. One day my wife, she put her foot down and she said, you know what, I left my job to look after this girl, and I take care of everything else. You're supposed to be the leadership coach. You fix it up now. You go to this. Then I realized now it is time to fix up the teacher. So I went and told her, you know what, I don't care if she doesn't stand up and talk in front of people, which is fine. But if you want to see her doing it, I'll teach you a technique. The next time, when she paints well, when she writes a poem, when she has done something great, you just have to ask her, would you like to share it with other people? Now you are appreciating what is inside her as a natural ability and using that strength to work on an area which she might want to improve. But each time our teacher was trying to pull her up, then, you go develop the skills. Now stand up here, talk about, and she say each time when you go there. So teacher thought developing, it's about doing skills, not really looking at what is a breed we are. There is something inherent, something deep-rooted. There are things that you demonstrated as a child, things it was there with you when you were a student in the college. What are those huge strengths which is there? So if you see somebody speaking, if you see a Colin Powell speaking or an Obama speaking, and you know that it's not that they stood up and learned how to speak. As a child, at a deeper level, that ability to face people and speak, which was there, somebody else can try harder, try more. Maybe our Prime Minister could get some classes and try, but he's not going to be as effective as a speaker if it is not there deep-rooted as an ability or a competency within. So I'm just showing you an inside-out approach. How do we really know? What are the real inner compass? What is the larger purpose that you're here? What could be that aspiration? And how do we know what is there that comes naturally to you, which you could use to reach there, rather than trying to acquire skills which are not really aligned with your core? Let me do this exercise. Think about one leadership role model that you have. Living, dead, family, relative, novel, anyone. Just think about one leadership role model. Take a couple of seconds. Okay, just wanted to hear some sharings. If those of you who have thought about it, you could just show your hand, then I could ask you. Who is one of your leadership role model? Yes, please. Your CEO? MC Kohli? Okay. MC Kohli? Yes? Steve Jobs? Harish Mehta? Yes? Narendra Modi? Gandhi? One more. Sonia Gandhi? But interestingly, if I ask this to a forum which has 100 people, I'll get at least 60 names. And Gandhi, Modi, or Sonia Gandhi may have no connection even remotely from a competency perspective, worldview perspective, and who they are. What does it say? What would you assume from that? So in a 100 group, if we get 60 different leaders as role models who are not even connected in any way, what does it say? Which means there is no single mold to develop leadership. But we try to do that in organizations. So which says everybody, based on who he is, by expanding, can be a leader. Someone will say Jack Welch, someone will say Mother Teresa. There's no connection. But the question is, who are you at a deeper level? Where can you develop that further? Which is what we call the inner game of success. Most of us have been largely focusing on the outer game. What are the things that I need to be doing? But I think it is time to really look within. So what is inside? What you have inside is a bunch of assumptions, beliefs. So I coached one of the CEO of a huge French multinational company. And after the second session, I realized I don't have to help him on how to do things. But the help required was around some of the assumptions, beliefs, values, worldviews, which are not really aligned to what he does, and he wanted an alignment. We all would have faced at times, you feel that I'm not really aligned, I feel I'm just slightly out of order. So alignment in a simple way is that what you think, what you feel, and what you do all are same, then you're aligned. Then there is presence. When I teach at ISB, at times students ask me, when I face an interview, if I'm nervous, what should I do? The classic question. And from a doing perspective, you can read in the internet, there are 5 things you can do if you're nervous. My typical answer to that guy is, if you're nervous, tell that guy you are nervous. It becomes his problem then, not yours anymore. Now it's gone because you're aligned, you're nervous, and you tell, I really don't know, but I'm nervous. Now the other guy is nervous, he's picking up a glass of water for you, he's trying to make you comfortable, and the moment you share that, you're not nervous anymore. Because that's now aligned. You feel that you expressed the way you felt it, the way you thought, and you said it. And after that, possibly, you'd be able to face the interview better. But how many of us really have the guts to really look at, who am I? What is my core design? What's my purpose that I can reach with this design? And how do I align myself? We don't really closely examine some of the beliefs which either empower us or disempower us. And how do you really make to change the mindset? Most CEOs that we work with, they say that the biggest challenge in organization is not about numbers, it's not about telling, it's about how do I create a mindset shift. One of the earlier McKinsey studies said 1/3 of the major transformation initiatives fail because we didn't have an alignment, an agreement, and mindset connect from at least 1/3 of the people. So how do you create, so the next level of development in each one of us is, how do I tackle some of my inner concerns? What's going on inside, not what I do outside, but some of my core beliefs. Working with animals, I learned one thing. You throw any animal into water, they all swim. Any animal. Throw an elephant, throw a kangaroo, throw a snake, throw a bird, throw anything into the water, they swim. But you throw a human being who doesn't know swimming into water, he dies. So if animals can swim without learning swimming, why would we die? Any thought? Yeah, so the first time, if you don't know swimming, when you're put into the water, what's the thought? Oh God, I don't know swimming and I'm going to die. Once you accept that, whatever you do afterwards is not going to help you because you will die. Elephant can swim beautifully than all other animals. You don't need a proof, just Google it. Elephants can swim very well. Interestingly, most of the animals that produces tears, not all, have lived also thousands of years in the water. Because otherwise, scientists couldn't prove why tears only in certain kind of animals. And among animals, elephants are fantastic. Elephants, the advantage other than animals is they can also swim underwater. Because they'll put the trunk up and go underwater. Brilliant swimmers. See, now it's a classic example of an inner thing. Because elephant is big, his belief system immediately said, Santosh is bullshitting. Elephant can't swim. What is the proof? It's fantastic. And I always say, there's a huge difference between adults asking a question and kids asking a question. You know what's the difference? Kids ask you a question when they don't have an answer and honestly believe this uncle has an answer. Adult ask you a question when they have an answer and honestly believe this guy doesn't have an answer, so let me ask him. It's a huge, that's inside. Let me just ask him. But this is half joke. I don't have a proof. But what I see is that because it's in your mind, and thousands of people die. And I come from Kerala. And I find that a lot of people live and die where the water is not very deep. They could have actually stood up and saved themselves. But the fear is so much that I'm going to die. Whatever they do after that, it's only helping them to die. But if you don't have it, you will swim. That's why Dead bodies float. So, you just don't think that. So you're actually designed to float. Your body is designed to float. It's your beliefs that are killing you. It's you. Because they tried painless childbirth underwater and they found the newborns float. Because they were in placenta. They were floating for 10 months. So our body is designed to float if you don't have a disempowering belief. Most of the time in Kerala, people were just thrown into water and they learned swimming. So one is, how do I really examine my beliefs which helped you at one point of time, but possibly it's not helping me to go to the next level. Most of you what are the 3 reasons that I hear for coaching that people come up? They said, this guy is fantastic. He's technically so competent, functionally so good. But for him to move into the next level, he's not very inspiring. He doesn't talk about big picture. And he doesn't create effective relationships. And he doesn't come across as extremely confident and have the presence. And when you quickly examine, he knows everything how to do and what to do, but there is something inside, and which could be with early childhood, all the experience that we had. And I think it is time for each one of us, what we wanted to move out, to look inside than look outside. And one tip to do that. The great ideas, great discoveries, great innovation comes not when you are busy doing it, but when you go inside. Where was Archimedes when he shouted Eureka? In the bathtub. Where was Newton when he suddenly talked about theory of gravity? Under a apple tree. If Newton was born in a place where I was born, he would be sitting under a coconut tree. And after that, you will never get theory of gravity if the coconut falls down. And I strongly believe Kerala had many Newtons, all died possibly, Because if Einstein was actually lying on a beach dreaming about what will happen if we travel with the velocity of light. And thus came the whole discovery. So it is important to go in, but most of our culturally what we do now is about going out. And it's about doing, and there's this new philosophy that I called balcony and the dance floor. The dance floor is a place where you do things. You're working, you're meeting, and you're doing. And balcony is a place where you go up and watch you doing it. And reflecting, going inside. And we have really less time for balcony these days because most of the time we are in the dance floor doing. So if you are really keenly interested in personal growth, one of the things that you need to really do is, how am I going to examine? There are multiple tools that we could do. A coach could help you. There is analysis of beliefs that you can do. You could really look at what is inside me, which is really stopping from going. I would really love to give you an experience. Till now I've been talking. Let me check if you can hear me without the mic, because my hands need to be free. Okay? Can people at the back hear me? Usually when I ask this question, somebody from the back will say, no, I can't hear you. That means he heard me. This time is good. So I'm going to give you an exercise and experience. All you need to do is sit comfortably with both the feet touching on the ground. Just 30-second thing. And this will work if you do exactly what I asked you to do. So it's about your inner mind. You believe. So there's no point in questioning. Just exactly do what I asked you to do, and then experience. There's this huge thing about listening. First, who told you the word listen to me in life? First time? Mom. And when she said, hey, listen to me now, get up and go and wash. It's not about listening, it's about obeying. The second time you heard this word from? Then you jump from mom to wife. This is the big problem with males. It's either about mom or it's about wife. In between there are many things. You went to school. And the teacher told you the same thing. Now listen to me, close your book. She again meant not about listening, but about obeying. Then you either met your spouse or your boss. And both said the same thing. listen to me. And both meant obey me. So the problem is in your inner world, listening means obeying, so I'm not going to listen now. Because if I listen, I may have to obey this guy. But two different things. You can completely listen and choose not to obey. But please listen. Hold your hands in this way. Make it straight. So at any point, don't bend like this. Make it straight. All right. You have to hear me and do exactly what I ask you to do. And this is an exploration of your beliefs. That's it. Bring it closer and closer, the sparks. Tighter and tighter. Hear me? Take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, close your eyes and shift your focus to the muscles of your palms. And bring them closer and closer and tighter and tighter. Imagine that you're really bringing them closer and closer, tighter and tighter. Pay complete attention to the muscles of your palms and imagine that every cell of your left inner palm is in touch with another cell of your right inner palm. And as you squeeze them and bring them closer and closer, hearing my voice, tighter and tighter, I want you to believe, I want to imagine you're really locking them to an extent that you're feeling that you're really tightly locking them. I want you to believe that once you lock it so powerfully, nobody will be able to push that and take it away because you are making it so powerfully tighter and tighter. Imagine that it's not two parts of your body. It's a single organ that you're joining together with the most powerful glue possible. Believe that you're completely joined them. You're doing a great job. You're doing fantastic. Now that you feel that your hands are completely locked, you will be surprised to notice at this point of time, the harder you try to take them out, the more difficult it becomes because you have locked it so powerfully. The harder you try to take them out, the more difficult it becomes because you have locked it so powerfully. Try harder to take it out. The harder you try, more difficult it becomes. Try harder to take it out. The harder you try, more difficult it becomes. It's locked so powerfully. The harder you try, more difficult it becomes. The harder you try, more difficult it becomes. Try harder to take it out. Try harder, try harder, try harder. That's fantastic. Take a deep breath. And allow yourself slowly back. Yeah. Take it out. So what happened when you were trying harder? In your case? They were coming more closer because I couldn't watch everyone, but I could see him just trying to take it out, take it out. Now it's a classic example of once you believe something inside, that can actually create external results. It was just about, I was only helping you to create an internal belief that your own hands, these are voluntary muscles, that it will not come out. Now, usually, I'm going to stop. I think you have a session there. One of the things that I do, which I didn't say, that I only talked about training dogs and training CEOs. The third thing I largely do is I hypnotize people. So what you saw is a little bit of a hypnosis. Have you ever experienced hypnosis, anyone? Where did you experience it? Okay. Was anybody from IIT Delhi or any of the IITs here? Because I used to do that for around 18 years in IIT, actually demonstrating. Just to talk about how some of the beliefs are deep-rooted, how we could typically create a quick shift by doing that. So how am I doing on time? I was asked to do it in 30 minutes. So I would have anyway crossed it. I don't use a watch. 33 minutes. Good. So it's time to shut up. So you could reach out. It's easy to catch me. And an easier email that you don't have to write it down. It's called hypnobaba@gmail.com. Which is, so hypnosis has a usual spelling called HYPNO, BABA. That's my Twitter. Otherwise, because it was almost like a strip dance, I couldn't really spend time to demonstrate. One of the things these 3 chairs were here was to call some of you and hypnotize you here. Next time. So I would really love to catch up with you guys. And I'm sure some of the organizations that you come from, we would have done some work. I see EMC here, a couple of other organizations. Have a great time, great day, and thank you so much.
Can you please do the honors of handing over a memento to Mr. Santosh Babu? Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Santosh Babu, founder and managing director, ODA Consultancy and life coach. Thank you once again.